This right here is an AMD Ryzen 5 3400G Mini ITX home theater PC build. And I've built it with a B450 motherboard. So if you want to see the specs, the full build, and also the troubles that I fell into with this build, then stick around because it's TechWizTime. Hey guys, Jonathan here with TechWizTime, where I create technology, tutorial and review videos. In this video I'm going to be doing the build of the Ryzen 5 3400G in an ITX case using the B450 motherboard from MSI. So in terms of specs for this build, the case that I'm using is the Silverstone ML-09, and also the power supply is a small form factor ST30 SF Power Supply. And that one there is again from Silverstone. Now Silverstone were kind enough to provide both the power supply and the case in this build. They haven't requested that I do anything special, so this is just purely what I would do if I was to receive these or build them myself. So then down to the RAM, I'm using 2 sticks of 16GB Corsair Vengeance RAM, and that's rated at 3200 MHz. The CPU, like I mentioned before, is the Ryzen 5 3400G with the inbuilt Vega 11 graphics. So the stock standard cooler wouldn't actually fit in this case, or it actually would. There was a little bit of room in there, but I wanted to keep the included fan inside this case. So in saying that, what I did is I opted to go for the Noctua NH-L9A AM4 low profile heatsink and cooler. Or heatsink and Noctua fan, I should say. I'm just tacking this in because I did forget to talk about the hard drive. So the hard drive that I'm putting in this is the 2.5-inch SSD Kingston 240GB model. And in the end, the Kingston drive is actually a really good performer. Not as good as NVMe, but still not bad. So back to the normal video. And last but not least is the motherboard. Now the motherboard that I'm using is the MSI B450i Gaming Plus AC motherboard. Now out of the box, this is not compatible straight away with the Ryzen 3000 series. So you will need to either apply on the AMD website to get them to send you out a temporary CPU so you can flash the BIOS, and then you've got to send it back to them. I will actually include a link down in the description below because I had to do it myself, and luckily I had a 2400G on hand, so the process wasn't that difficult. But in saying that, if you do have a B450 board that has the USB BIOS flashback option, then you can definitely use that. But in my case, I didn't actually have that on this motherboard. This particular motherboard doesn't include that feature. So with that said, that's all the components and the specs out of the way. So with that said, let's clear the desk and get on with the build. Let's do this! So we're back after that awesome time lapse of the build, and we have the Silverstone ML-09, home theater PC case, all built, constructed, cable managed, and it's a beaut. One of the things I love about this case in particular is the standoff. So you can use these here, and you can stand it up on its end, just like the old PlayStation 2 used to. PlayStation 3 as well, I believe. They just click in place there. Not bad for those that want a vertical orientation for their case. There's cooling vents up here, so all the hot air can escape very easily. And on this side here, there's also vents for the CPU to blow air out of. But in saying that, if you want to have the standard horizontal orientation, they do have included feet which you can attach to the case, and it just stands off the desk or underneath the TV cabinet. Now I know there's going to be a lot of comments in there, why didn't I go for a modular design, a fully modular designed SFF power supply? And the reason is that I wanted to keep it considerably cheap. Like, I know ITX is not cheap by any case at all. It's when you're trying to deal with small components, it seems like the price goes up. So yeah, small form factor power supplies are more expensive. The Noctua cooler actually isn't too bad. It's only worth about $50 US. So yeah, not bad for a low profile cooler. The CPU is only about $250. The motherboard can range in price, but it's a lot cheaper than the X570 motherboards. And the case itself is worth about $70 US on Amazon. 70 to 80 US dollars, I should say. I opted for the 3200 megahertz RAM purely because the faster your memory is with the APUs, the more frames per second you're going to get in gaming. So the 3200 megahertz RAM seemed the most logical choice. Any higher than that and it starts getting quite expensive, and CAS latency won't affect the frames too much, by a frame or two maybe. So I'm not too concerned about the CAS 16 rating on this RAM. And the 16 gigabyte kit, it came in at about $70, $80 as well. So yeah, very, very reasonably priced. So all in all, it is quite an affordable ITX build, considering that you do have to buy the low profile cooler, but I'd recommend that anyway because the stock standard AMD cooler isn't that quiet. So enough of me rambling, let's have a look at some benchmarks. In particular, I'm going to look at GTA 5 and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And something interesting here is that the frames per second are actually lower than my X570 build. Now, I think this has something to do with the B450 motherboards and their BIOSes not having full support. Now, I did flash this BIOS to the latest BIOS at the time that was available. And I think as time goes on, the BIOSes that get delivered to the B450 motherboards are going to become more reliable and increase the frames on the APUs at least. So you can see the same story here with GTA 5. We're looking at around, I think overall with Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Grand Theft Auto 5, there was a change of 2% to 8% less frames per second when going from the X570 motherboard to the B450 motherboard. So that's a pretty big discrepancy when you think about it. So definitely, like I said, I feel like it's going to be something that's going to be fixed within the BIOS, but that's simply my opinion at this stage. Let me know down in the comments if you've been having similar experiences with your B450 motherboards, because yeah, this is the first time that I've actually seen this, and I've heard that other people are having problems with B450 motherboards in terms of compatibility and so forth. I didn't have that issue once I flashed it, but who knows, there could be other issues that we're not aware of yet because it's still early days. Now, a couple of reasons you might want this build for yourself is because of its small form factor. It actually fits in the living room environment. It does look like a slightly chunkier Xbox One. And as an added bonus, because this MSI motherboard, the B450i Gaming Plus AC, has Bluetooth on board, you can actually use the Xbox One Bluetooth controller without the need of any dongles. So yeah, how awesome is that? Now, you're not going to be getting full 1080p gaming out of this machine, but it does have upgradability in its core, and 720p gaming on a 4K TV when you're sitting 2 meters, 3 meters away, you're not going to really see the pixels until you get up close. So it shouldn't be a bad experience for a home theater PC, And in the end, if you want to upgrade to a, say, 3600 or a 3600X, maybe put in a 1050 Ti low profile card. At the time of making this video, they don't really have that many other low profile cards out there. I think the 1660s might be coming in. I couldn't find any myself, but it's, yeah, if you're looking at a low profile video card for this one, yeah, you might have to wait a little while. 1050 Ti, I don't see cutting it just yet. So that's my Mini ITX home theater PC, or HTPC, 3400G build. I really hope you liked it. If you did, then make sure you subscribe to this channel, and also throw me a like if you liked it. Also dislike if you didn't like it. I don't mind, it's all interaction. Let me know if you would have done anything different down in the comments below, and also hit me up on Twitter or in the YouTube community tab. I'm getting more social over in the YouTube community tab, so community tab. So make sure you come over there and yeah, see what's new with the channel. So with that said, again, thanks for watching, and as always, imagine, learn, create.